Hi, my name is Kees, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about how you get access to the knowledge of the universe. So, the knowledge of the universe is almost boundless. It's so huge. Everything that is here, right? Everything that is here is energy, or we could say it's God. And everything consists of this energy. And when we focus inside and we take our focus off of the body and the five senses and the material world, we get to access the part of us that is actually more than the material, that is boundless itself, that is without a boundary. That's consciousness or energy. And that consciousness or energy, of course, has access to all consciousness and all energy. Because if you close your eyes, we can do a small experiment. If you close your eyes and without, let's say, opening your eyes, what are the limits of the environment that you can sense? Maybe it's your hearing. So I'm currently hearing a little bit of drilling. But okay, let's leave our hearing out, or our smell, or our taste, or our touch. When we leave these five senses out, then we are already boundless, because all that is sensed through the senses in the material world is through this individual experience we're having. So now you can open your eyes again. So through this limited individual experience that we have, of course, things are going to be material and limited. And what we want to do in order to access the knowledge of the universe, we first of all need to understand that we cannot be coming from that limitless, that limitful place, or we cannot be coming from a limited place. We cannot be coming from the material place. We cannot be coming from the individual experience through the body and the five senses. We have to use something else. And the something else we have is our attention and the awareness or the consciousness that we are. So becoming conscious, or trying to become conscious, or becoming aware, or being aware, and our thoughts and our feelings. Our thoughts and our feelings are actually not related to the material world. They actually, in a way, create the material world, or can create the material world, but they're not of the material world. You cannot touch a thought. You cannot touch a feeling. You can measure a certain response of the body. So let's say you have an emotion, then your brain gives a response, and you can measure that response. So scientists always think that we are having an emotion and that it's somehow of the body because we are of the body, because scientists, well, they know from a quantum physics perspective that we're not the individual, but scientists are usually still looking at it from the individual frame of mind. And from that individual frame of mind, of course, everything is physical. And so they think when we're emotional, you can measure that, and you can, but what you measure is the body's response to the mind's emotion. Right? It's very interesting, because the body responds immediately, because that's the manifestation of our mind. The body is the manifestation of our mind. And so if we want to access this knowledge of the universe, and we want to access, first of all, more than we as a sort of individual material person know, right? Then we first of all must go beyond that. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that we must ask the question. We must be willing to ask a question that we have on our minds. We must be willing to, so that's the second thing. The third thing is we need to be willing to listen for the answer. Because sometimes the answer comes a little bit in a cryptic way. Sometimes the answer might not come. Sometimes the answer might come in an activity. Sometimes the answer might come in someone calling you. It can happen in lots of different ways. The answer can come. But the universe has very much different ways to tell you things. But the knowledge of the universe, especially for people that have opened a part of their brain through listening more, the yogis are calling are talking about 8 types of brains, and one of them is the chit. And the chit is the part of you that is actually open. That's a sort of the receiver of, and not only the broadcaster, it's a receiver of what the universe is. So through meditation, through contemplation, through opening yourself to others and to, let's say, the bigger part of yourself, you are allowing yourself to receive more. So this is a process I'm talking about here. So if you want to receive the knowledge of the universe, it's not from one day maybe to another. For some people that are already open, it can be. So I have a short exercise at the end of the video, which I'd love for you to try. But for most people, it doesn't have to be that way. For a lot of people, you can sort of train this aspect of yourself, and you can also understand how you can receive knowledge, because it's not the same for everybody. Okay. So, what would you like to ask? What knowledge do you want to have? What do you feel is relevant for you? Because if you feel this sea of potential for yourself and the sea of knowledge, then you can also maybe understand that it's not for a person or an individual to hold. The wave cannot hold the sea, right? Well, a beautiful saying is enlightenment is the wave realizing it's the ocean. Well, in this sense, you can understand that yes, you have access to the sea as the wave. So of course, as consciousness, you have access to all consciousness as a part of consciousness, or as the whole thing actually. Actually, we're the whole thing, of course, but we have this individual experience. And in this way, what we can do is slowly, through time, opening ourselves up to the whole thing and living with the whole thing. And we don't have to know everything, because it's maybe not relevant what happened 3,000 billion years ago on some planet far away or something like that. It's just we have no orientation to ask questions like that, because there's so much we don't know that it's just not relevant. But what we maybe do want to know is know a little bit about our situation, know about why we are here, know about what is right for us, know about maybe about others in your life, or something related to your life, or to your family, or it's sort of the questions that you can ask God. It's also maybe it can help you with a deeper sense of orientation of what to do in life, what works for you, etc. Is knowing your place, not making everything up. What the individual usually tends to do is think about things and then create something based on what they materially know to be true in the past. But this is a different way of orientation where you can ask the universe why it created you in a way, right? And ask the universe why this is all happening. And through this we can, through these questions that we leave in our mind, what we do is we ask the question, we leave our minds blank, we basically meditate, and then we see what we receive. Don't think that everything that you receive is the truth. It's a truth. Truth is multiple. There are multiple truths. There are multiple lives, multiple timelines. The universe is unlimited. But through asking more questions, you can, and through a sort of resonance in your own heart, when something is said, when something is received, you either feel that this is truth for you or not. So, this is a practice for you to try. Write down a question which you have. Say the question over and over and meditate. Take your time to receive and see what you receive. And through this practice, we have the opportunity to meet other consciousnesses, right? We can become conscious of that. Some questions are answered by, you receive something. Let's say when you receive something when you're talking to people physically, you notice that people have different voices, that people have different intensities or different intonations. And when you start asking questions to the universe, you can get different answers. And those answers can have a different quality to them. And sometimes you can feel that this answer is this answer has a certain style, you would say. As if it was spoken by a certain person. And other answers might have a different style, as if spoken by another person. And of course there are no people, there's only consciousness, but there is different forms, right, of consciousness. And like this is a form of consciousness. And so there are different beings, you could say, that either have a body or do not have a body, that can answer your questions and that do receive those questions and then can answer them. And what happens is there are two types of beings generally that can be in communication with you. So one is your guides. And guides is a word for beings that have chosen or made an agreement with you to help you in this life. Basically other souls that either have a guiding function or that have some sort of interaction with you or that chose to help you in this life or are past family members that seem to like you, etc. So these are your guides, and guides, they have a guiding function. They can help you. They can help you gain insight. They can protect you. They can there's lots that guides can do, but mostly give you knowledge, which it try to, with everything I say, but also with everything these guides might say, or every answer that you get from the universe. One of the most important thing is, does it resonate with you? Or do you, that's a term for, do you feel in your heart that which was said feels true? Because this is, this is beyond rationale. We're if you're watching this video and you're still watching this video, then understand that this is way beyond what you can actually know to be true in a sort of intellectual way. Truth is felt. Truth is felt if you go from into a deeper place. So it's either your heart or your mind, right? And your thoughts, you could say. So thoughts that are true, or rationale that is true, or intellectually things are true, when they are connected with things in the past. Right? You've read something somewhere and this resonates with that, or you had some experience in the past that you remember that resonates with that. And then you also have truth that is felt. So in your heart or in your body or a deeper part of your mind can feel the good intentions, or can sometimes feel that this locks into some experience somehow. Why this is, how this actually works, I have no clue. But if somebody observes something about me, either there's a sort of inner knowing that says yes, or not, or it's ignored, you could say. If it's ignored, then it's something I just let go. I try to let go. Okay, so this is very important, because now we'll go to the second category of help you might get, or answers you might get from beings. So there's a second category of beings, and these beings are beings that are on the same frequency wavelength as you. Okay. Lots to understand here. Okay, so what do I mean with that? In short, it means how loving you are in life. Life on the outside. And so the material life is a projection of the mind. So how loving the mind is in unconsciously and consciously, because together it's a whole. The unconscious things are just the things you pushed away and that you haven't looked at. So the whole is a sort of, let's say it all counts, and it let's say it gives you a sort of number, or which we could say it's a frequency of how loving you are. And when you access universal truth, or when you access this knowledge of the universe, what can access you easily is that which is on your frequency. So let's say you've had quite some hardship, you have quite some unconscious habits and beliefs, you are quite negative, you're not so loving to your environment, things like that. Let's say you would go online in this universe, in that universe, as far as you're not online already, but consciously online, and you start asking for answers, then you'll be reached by lower frequency beings, because you are a lower frequency being then. And that's not a judgment. That's something to take into account. So, because the beings that reach you next to your guides are the ones that are maybe one step higher or one step lower, right? And that depends on your intentions. When you look at universal truth as a sort of, oh, now I'm going to speak with a being with the best intention, then there's a place for a being with a better intention to come in and maybe tell you something in a moment. But this is why inner work is extremely important, because when you get a higher frequency, or you create a higher frequency in yourself by resolving unconscious belief, forgiving everybody in your life, forgiving yourself, by letting go of some of the things you must do, by going more with the flow, by being more loving, things like that, by letting go of unconscious habits and beliefs and things like that, what happens is you free yourself from this lower frequency. So you get access to higher frequency, which means you get access to a higher part of yourself, first of all. And second of all, you get access to higher frequency beings. So these are so you have your guides, and you have the frequency of, let's say, you attract the frequency that you resonate with, or that you broadcast at. Because you could say, when I'm asking this question, I'm broadcasting it actually, like you would do with the radio frequency. And if I'm at a low frequency, then everybody that's tuned into that frequency, the lower frequency, the beings can hear that or communicate with that if they're open. You understand? Because and that's also when you're with higher frequency, you get higher frequency beings, etc. So it is good, or maybe good to think or to understand. And when you talk to these beings, it's good to understand what their intentions are, why they're here. Also, be cautious with beings that are trying to play into your ego, right? That's or sort of trying to do something destructive to other people and things like that. You could see these beings not all. You are a being like that yourself. Only because you have a physical body, you're usually not focused on that, and you're not in that realm. So now we're starting to play with this video is about playing in this realm. And when you play in this realm, you understand that you're playing and you're leaving your body, outside of that, basically. You're leaving your body for a second. The material world is actually not relevant at this point, because we're not playing in that. We're playing at another level. But this level is something we can also be active in. And that means that these beings that we're talking to, the guides or the beings that can, the energetic beings that can read our frequency or things like that can talk to us, we're a being like that as well. So these beings or these guides are not better than us per se. So if we get an answer, it's not that we need to listen to that, right? That we're now obliged, we got an answer, we're now obliged to listen to that. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. We're still here. We're still, we have free will to do certain things that we think is best. Of course, we don't have control over everything. There's lots that we don't control. And there's also, part of it is we can't control what we have thought and what has happened in our lives totally up to this point, especially if we now start to understand how we actually manifest things or things like that. So there is a sort of conditioning active already, and which is not totally in our control, and which we can let go of as well. So yeah. don't take what these beings say so seriously. That's what that was basically my point. Sometimes when it rings true to you, or you feel in your heart, yes, this is true, then of course, then it feels like inner knowledge, because somebody's. It's just like you meet a friend, they say something, you feel like, yeah, damn, that inspires me, or that feels good. And basically, you have energetic friends as well. Right? You have beings without a body or with a body that you can have the same conversations with, and that you can feel inspired by, and that you can feel, yes, okay, this resonates for me. But there's things that other people might say, just like on the street, where you think, well, I'm gonna ignore this. It's not relevant for me. It doesn't feel relevant, or it doesn't resonate in my heart. So understand this, because this is a very important point to me. What helps me when I have a conversation with these beings is that sometimes if I have a question, I can do it in my mind. I can think this and that and that. But sometimes what's also nice for me is not to do it in my mind, but just to write it out, and to let my fingers sort of type or write that which a being wants to write through my body. So this is called channeling. Yeah, I really like it. I channel sometimes my guides, and sometimes I get a feeling that I know that the guide wants to tell me something. And I'll go to my computer and I type something. I'll type what the guide wants to tell me, sort of using my body with that. And I really like that. I do not often have conversations with general high frequency beings. It's sort of, I have my friends, you can say my guides are my friends, that tell me something, or want to tell me something. And sometimes they invite other beings to tell me something, or it's just like, it's kind of like a house party sometimes. But that's really fun, and to me, I've gained lots in knowledge. And what also helps, or what is really cool, is that some of these guides can do really cool things, and they can help you. For example, they can do some energy work on you, or they can maybe even do energy work on other people, or yeah, there's lots in the realm of possibility of this. And how I do this, and how this came across my path, is first of all, I help people from doing to being. And when you go from doing to being, you create, instead of doing, just sending and creating your life with your mind the whole time. So it's also recreating then. There's no fresh inspiration coming in, because you're doing it with your mind. And being, when you go more to being, or more into flow, you let more open, and you're more open to receive. So this is how I received more of this, and how I came into contact with channeling, and with these basically guidance and my guides and things like that. And what happened through that for me is all these cool experiences and all these cool knowledge came on my path. I personally want to help people not only from doing to being, but also to interbe with others, right? So when you're in your being, you're aligned, you're relaxed, you're okay, you can flow. And when you meet another person, I have that, for example, with my friend Floris. When we meet, it's kind of like he flows and he is in the moment, and I'm the same, and then we boost each other in that. And then when we meet, it's like it's two people in their being meeting, and then you get this interbeing that is happening. And I have the same thing with my guides, and that's a very beautiful thing. If it also happens physically, for example, like with my friend Floris, but I also have it with other people, of course, then you have this beautiful interbeing together. And that interbeing it's magic. It's magic sometimes without speaking to each other already. We feel so connected. So yeah, I wanted to share this with you, and I hope you, when it appeals to you, or if it appeals to you, I hope you you access the knowledge of the universe to understand what you need to understand, or to get answers on the questions that you want to have answers to. And I hope it helps. And I look forward to interbe with you in the future. And I would love to evolve together and evolve this planet into a way where we can interbe with all beings on the planet, with all living things, with all non-physical things, with all physical things, where we can be with the trees and the animals and the spirits, all the beings, all the guides, all the lovely humans, everybody together as one consciousness, which we really are. And when we understand our interconnectedness and our interrelatedness and our interbeingness, it leaves you in wonderment. It leaves you a little bit in wonderland, but also just I'm so dazzled in a positive way by how cool actually all this is and how amazing life is. And I wish you a loving connection with as many beings that you can find. And upliftment and love and alignment for the rest of your life. And I hope this video helped you. And I wish you a great day. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And I'll see you next time.